Hey, friends. I'm sex and intimacy coach Leah Carey and host of the podcast Good Girls Talk About Sex. I had some technical difficulties this week, so I'm late in getting this up. But today we're looking at scenes from Bachelor in Paradise, episodes 6 and 7, to break down some examples of strong, healthy communication and some really, really toxic communication. Let's do this. So today we're going to look at communication in the triangle among Joe, Kendall, and Serena, and also look at communication with Brendan and Natasha. And then there'll be a quick little fun thing at the end. Let's look first at Kendall.
It's really difficult for me to go from us being each other's everything to, in a really quick period of time, like it just being nothing. It's hard for me.
So what I really like about this is that Kendall is expressing how she's feeling without making it Joe's fault. She's not saying, you've done this to me. You were a bad person who caused me to feel terrible. She's saying, this is hard and I feel bad. One of the things that I think people assume is that healthy communication means that people don't have conflict, that you're able to work everything out before it happens. That's not reality. That's not how life works. We have conflict. And there are going to be times when we have disagreements with a partner, when we have hard feelings, when there's some heat on things. We see things just so differently that it's hard for us to come together. That is all normal. The thing that makes this healthy as opposed to toxic communication is that Kendall is saying, I'm having a hard time with this. She's letting Joe know how she feels rather than saying, you're a terrible person and you've put all this onto me. It's your fault. She's not trying to assign fault.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm still at a point where I don't know. I mean, I like where I'm at with Serena, but I don't know if this is going to work again.
He's right up front about the fact that he just doesn't know. He's confused. He has feelings in lots of different places. If somebody genuinely doesn't know, I would rather them tell me they don't know than pretend to have figured things out or blow sunshine where it doesn't belong in order to make me feel better, when eventually they're going to turn around and tell me, this isn't really for me. You know, when I was early in my relationship with my current partner, I figured out that I was ready for us to be in a relationship sooner than he did. And I told him, and his response was, oh, okay, I don't know yet. I don't know if I'm there yet. And that was totally okay with me because it wasn't him saying, yes, I'm totally in. And then 2 or 3 weeks later being, I am totally out. So I love that Joe is showing up and being really vulnerable about the fact that this is difficult. There are no easy answers in this situation.
Some kind of misunderstanding between her and I still. We're going to be having more conversations.
Okay.
That I'm going to have.
Yeah.
Here again, Joe is showing up and being really honest about the fact that this is complicated. He is not trying to protect Serena by lying to her, by pulling the wool over her eyes. He's saying, this is challenging. And I'm going to have to deal with this. I'm not going to just turn away from it in order to protect you. I need to deal with this. And again, if I were in Serena's position, this would sting. This would be really hard. And yet, if I'm going to partner with somebody, I want to know that they're fully in it with me. And if that means that they need to take some time to deal with and sort of put an end to what has happened before, or decide that they are not done with what happened before, and then that gives me the opportunity to opt out, all of that is really positive. Yes, it stings in the moment. And that's the thing that we generally try to avoid, both feeling and causing. But ultimately, it gives everybody a part and a stake in what happens, as opposed to, I'm just sort of sitting here floating along and everybody else is going to make decisions for me.
Coming into this experience, I told myself I was over her. I don't want to mislead you in case I'm not, but I am.
Again, just keep coming back to this idea that Joe is conflicted and he is letting everyone in this space know that he's conflicted. So he's not creating unreasonable expectations for anyone. That is grown up communication. That is healthy communication. And he's not making it anybody's fault. He's not making it Kendall's responsibility to make him feel better. He's not making it Serena's responsibility to nurture and care for him and take care of his feelings while he's going through something with that big bad Kendall. You know, he's really just saying, this is challenging and I have some things I need to work out.
I also don't want this to potentially ruin your chances here.
He's giving Serena the opportunity to opt out if that's what she chooses to do. He's saying, here's where I'm at. Now, I would really like to be with you. And I recognize that that may not work for you because you came in here to find love. And I don't know if I can offer that to you. I'd like to say that I can, but I can't promise. And so if you need to opt out because this is too messy or confusing or painful, that's okay. I'll be disappointed, but I'll support that decision. That is generosity and kindness. That is kindness to a potential partner, to let them know that if they need to opt out, you're okay.
I just ask that, like, if that changes at any point, or you start getting confused, or like, I don't want to look over and see you and Kendall like reigniting your love on, like, if anything changes in that sense, like, just be honest with me.
And now here is Serena's part in this. She is making boundaries. And I love this. I love to see this because so few people on the Bachelor franchise ever create real, good, solid boundaries. And she's doing it. She is saying, I want to be with you. I'm going to stick with you. Here is the condition under which I am going to stick with you. Here is my boundary. I don't want to be blindsided by you and Kendall over in the corner making out. So you're telling me right now that you think you're over her. I understand that you're not completely decided. So if it changes, if you decide you're not completely over her, please tell me so that I can disengage, so that I can opt out. That is a good, solid boundary. And I love that in the midst of, this really difficult situation, but where everyone is communicating really well, that she created such a solid boundary. Good job. Okay, so now let's jump over to Brendan and Natasha. And if you've watched this episode, this gets really ugly really fast. The situation is kind of parallel. Joe and Brendan have both gotten involved with somebody who's on the beach, a new person to them. And then onto the beach comes someone they've had a prior engagement with. With Kendall, that's a literal engagement. With Brendan and Piper, it's just them having, started a relationship. But the situation is kind of analogous. So let's see how differently Brendan handles this.
I specifically said to you, I don't have those type of feelings for you on a romantic level.
You didn't say that though.
So the first thing that Brendan does is try to confuse Natasha about what he has actually said. So here's a warning sign to look out for. When someone says, I specifically told you, you can almost bet that this person is trying to manipulate you in some way. That word specifically, when used in this context, is a big red flag.
Who, in my opinion, have somewhat of selective hearing, and
I gotta love Natasha's laugh at this. The absolute, like, what planet are you on laugh? Because again, Brendan is trying to manipulate this situation. He is trying to confuse Natasha into believing that perhaps she completely misread this situation. You have selective hearing, whew, manipulation.
And that's up, Brendan.
yeah, you are entitled to your opinion.
Next big red flag. Well, you're entitled to your opinion. Anytime somebody says this in the midst of any kind of disruption in your relationship at all, this is manipulation. This is somebody saying, I've already thought about what it is you think, and you're wrong. I already know that you're wrong. You know, your reality differs from my reality, and I know mine is right. So jump off. Big red flag.
The hurtful thing that I
Sure.
was unaware of.
Sure.
Big red flag. Sure. Anytime you're in conflict with somebody and they say things like, sure, or yeah, or I get it. They're demonstrating that they've already dismissed you. They're showing you that they don't actually care what you have to say. They have already prejudged what you're saying and have dismissed it and said that it's unworthy of their attention. Big, huge red flag.
I would have explored other things, and I'm telling
what would you have explored? What would you have explored, Natasha? If you had any desire to talk to any other guys and guys had any desire to talk to you, it would have happened.
Okay, I have to be honest. This makes me furious. Someone telling another person, basically, I am your best option. And if it weren't for me, you wouldn't have any options. That's abusive behavior. And it makes me especially, this like touches home for me, not only because I've had a partner say this to me in the past, but also because my father said this to my mother before they got married and then throughout their marriage. I have seen this in action. I have seen how it tears a person down and makes them question everything about themselves. Thankfully, Natasha is already checked out of this situation. She knows that what he's spewing is BS, and thank God. But I want you to hear that if anyone ever suggests to you that they are your best and only option, that is a red flag that should send you running the other direction as fast as you can go. Period. There are people who want to love you exactly as you are today, exactly the way you look, smell, taste, think, act, laugh, all of it. There is someone who wants to love you exactly the way you are today. This person who's telling you that they are your only choice is lying to you. Period. End of sentence. Okay, let's jump into something a little lighter. This is Chris and his new lady friend, Alana. And this is the moment where they are sort of making out and trying to figure out how to get their bodies into the right positions. Let's watch.
It's an awkward position.
And
Try a
this-
different one.
You
I'm
want me
gonna
to
go
just
here.
straight up strap
No,
you
no,
right
no,
now?
don't.
Oh, I'm like,
Come from this
This isn't-
direction. No, but don't make my head go all the way back. Just, you need to like assume a dominant position. There.
You need to assume a dominant position. This is so funny to me because first of all, this is something that happens, right? We're with a new person and we're starting to try to figure out how our bodies fit together. And a lot of times this whole dance happens without words. And then people feel awkward and they're like, oh, I'm disappointing the other person, or I got it wrong and they're not going to want to do this with me anymore. So I do enjoy the fact that Alana is saying all of this out loud. She's also doing what some people might call topping from the bottom, which is saying, I want you to be dominant. I want to be on the bottom. I want to be the submissive, but you're not doing it the way I want you to do it. So here is the way for you to be dominant with me. This actually has kind of a bad rap in the BDSM community, this idea of topping from the bottom. In this case, I think that it is so excellent. She is saying to him, this is how you can give me pleasure. This is how it's going to work for me. She's giving him the instruction manual. And if he follows it, it can have great chemistry. If he doesn't follow it, then she has learned that he is not exactly the right partner for her. But great example, both of topping from the bottom and how to communicate with a new partner about what exactly it is that you want and how you want it. Okay, that's it for today. If there's a scene from a TV show you'd like me to break down, drop a comment with the name of the show and the episode number, and I'll be back later this week to break down the next Bachelor in Paradise episode. And if you'd like to take some of the principles we've discussed today and implement them into your own life and relationships, I offer personalized coaching for individuals and couples, and all of that info is at leahcarey.com/coaching. When you work with me, I promise to help you feel safe exploring your sexuality. Together, we're going to help you see your needs and desires without judgment. For more information and to schedule a discovery call, click the link in the video description. I'll talk to you soon.